Is life an impromptu speech? I was given my topic today by my evaluator because my evaluator has expressed to me on earlier occasions that he does not believe that in Toastmasters we should give an impromptu speech. Well, I would like today to discuss the topic. Is an impromptu speech appropriate? Is it not appropriate? And my position, which is life an impromptu speech? Now, I walked into this meeting this morning, and the first thing I noticed was a young, beautiful girl sitting on the couch. Well, I didn't prepare a speech to talk to this young, beautiful girl on the couch, so I had to do an impromptu. I had to think, what can I say to get a laugh out of her, to get her attention, and for her to at least think about me. Whether she liked me or she didn't like me was not as important as the fact that she needed to respond to me. That was impromptu. We do table topics. Why do we do table topics? Table topics is a third of our meeting, and it's an important function. And what is the function? To train you to think on your feet quickly. That's what it's there for. Because Toastmasters has impromptu speeches, but life is all impromptu. Every time Amanda walks in the room and says she's going to give a speech, I do an impromptu speech in my head, which is, now what is Amanda going to talk about? And how am I going to feel about what she said? And am I going to learn something? And how am I going to change my lifestyle to conform to what she tells me I better do if I'm going to live long enough to meet her great-grandchildren? Life's an impromptu speech. Now, I came up here to give this impromptu speech. Now, is there anybody in this room that honestly feels that this speech I'm now giving is truly impromptu? Not really. I've been planning this speech for 68 years. Since the first time my mother wanted to stick a bottle in my mouth, and I go, I don't like the taste of it. How do I tell my mother I don't like the taste of the milk she wants to give me? She wanted to give me a bottle. I'm not nuts. I wanted to be breastfed. Life is an impromptu speech. Now, what do we do in life that's not impromptu? We give prepared speeches. Now, why do we give prepared speeches? Because we're teaching ourselves to organize our speech, and we do that by writing our speeches out. Now, that's speech number 2 in the basic manual. Organize your speech, have an opening, have a closing. The opening and the closing should be tied together so that they have some connection, and then you have approximately 3 items to cover, because if you cover more than 3 items, they don't remember what you said. Problem is, nobody remembers what I ever say anyway, so I don't know how important it is my speech be organized. But we organize prepared speeches, because when you're running for political office, if you get up there and give an impromptu speech, what do? You make some idiotic comment, like the chairman of the board said, oh, I've got dinner with the board of directors. That used to be fun. You know about that? I read that. The guy got fired. This went all over the internet that he made this comment about the board of directors, and they said, oh, he doesn't like us, and they fired him as the board of directors because there was a comment. That was an impromptu comment. When you're in political office, you don't give impromptu speeches. You don't make impromptu comments. You don't, when you're president of the United States, open your mouth and say anything, because whatever it is, there's 2 groups sitting there. There's the Democrats, the Republicans, there's the third group. There's the Libertarians and the Green Party and the Wet Party and the Dry Party, and no matter what you say, they're going to have something to say about it. But we're not in political office. We can say anything we want. In fact, what does our Constitution say? Right of free speech. To say anything you want. Now, there is a limit to what you can say. My right to say anything I want ends where I violate Ed's right. For example, my right to hit Ed in the nose ends where his nose begins. But up till then, I have the right to say what I want. Now, if I'm using offensive language, then I'm actually hitting him in the nose, and that violates my freedom of speech. And I'm only throwing that as an example of doing an impromptu speech and what you can say, because you're supposed to be able to say whatever you want. So you can say whatever you want within the limits of decency and of responsibility to have a decent relationship with somebody and not get them angry with you or antagonize, which I do to Rich all the time. But you say what you want. So when you get up here and you give an impromptu speech, you're pulling from all those years of information and you're putting it together right there on the spot. And it trains you so you can give prepared speeches when you run for political office. Mr. Toastmaster.